Hello, my name is Ethan Leo from the Ding Ding TV Youth Reporters, and today I'm joined by Oliver Chen, Carol, and Parker. And today we'll be interviewing Mr. Sandy Chau. Just to give you some information on Mr. Sandy Chau, he is an amazing philanthropist and entrepreneur who's opened many technology companies and is leading the AAPI community to a better future. So first I'd like to start off. There's much business stuff known about you, but not everybody knows about your daily life. So what goes on every day? So what do you do when you first wake up?
Well, normally I have a habit of reading before I go to sleep and then reading once I wake up. So therefore that routine is almost like at night I probably read about at least maybe 30 minutes. Then to the point that I just feel my eyelid is too heavy, then I go to sleep. And then in the morning, I typically read about an hour before I even get out of bed. So that gives me just a refreshing, a portion is news, and then you know what's going on for the day, and then review what's happening. And then a portion is sometimes on some interesting books that I pursuing try to finish. And then after that, because I mean, when you're asking, this question is very interesting. Because what do you do, what is your normal life when you are 20, when you're 40, 30, when you're 40, when you're 50, when you're 60, when you're 70s. So your daily life and routine changes all the time, and it depends on what you do. So I guess this question is about, how about yesterday? That type of thing. So a typical weekday for me would be, and then of course you get your morning routine, and then you prepare breakfast. And then because of this kind of days, you guys stay at home, you prepare breakfast, and then for me it's almost like retiring. So because of the pandemic, you can't go too many places, and then what happens is if you're a garden, you probably try to make the garden look beautiful. So you do some gardening for an hour, and after that you just make phone calls, and then to see whether you have any appointment with people. I do have appointment with people, and then mostly we meet outdoor. So on the average week, I probably have a meeting on the average maybe 2-3 times a week. And then if the meeting lasts longer, then I just go prepare a very quick lunch for everybody, and then it's always good to feed whoever comes to meet you, to be happy and have a full stomach after they leave. And then typically in the afternoon, right now it's almost like semi-retired. You just certain day you do have some meetings, and most of the day, then either you do some hiking, or for me at least once a week, I went to. It takes about 35 minutes from my house to San Francisco Salt Lake. Then I at least row for 1 hour once a week over there, sometimes longer. And then after that, I do about half an hour of hiking before I go home. And then I just go home and prepare dinner. And then most often in the evening, half the time, I probably participate in some community activities. That and then sometimes I got, when it's my turn, and I just communicate with the community. And then about almost on the average once a week, maybe split day, not the whole day, maybe one morning and one afternoon some other day, that I will talk to some of the portfolio managers, my portfolio CEOs of those companies, and then to see what's going on, and then to create a close relationship with them, And also sometimes if there's some ideas or some difficulties or whatever, some challenges, and then we discuss to see whether I could be helpful. So that basically is passing the weekdays. During the weekend, and then I really reserve the time. I have a son, and then he have two children. And then one is 4 and one is 6. And then sometimes also on the weekday we visit them. And then on the weekend they come to visit me. And then my daughter have 2 children. One is 6 and one is 8. So therefore so weekend we reserve for that. And on Sunday, I think the morning is dedicated to go to church. Right now it's online, and then we communicate with friends and things like that. So therefore it's more like a retirement life, but on the other hand, it's just there's still a lot of activity going on. So therefore basically I think the question that is pretty direct at what you do every day. So therefore basically this is my period, this period of my life, this is what I do.
Wow. So you sound like a very busy man, even in your retirement. So I noticed you really love to go outdoors and go rowing boats and hiking. But you also said a lot of stuff other than that. So what exactly is your favorite part of your week?
I think it's just it really depends on what kind of the flavor, because a lot of times in life it is it's always the favorite thing is something you hope for, and something you want to finish, and something that everybody plan on, and then when that's done, and then not necessarily it must have to be a certain level of accomplishment. At least you accomplish something, and when that is done, that is probably you just feel a sense of elation, a sense of relief, or a sense of accomplishment, and that will be the favorite situation of the day. And then for example, I think eventually you will encounter that. And when I was in university, college, and then a friend of mine, we were very close. And then I said, wow, this is final. And then I got to do the final rush. And then I talked to him. But you're in graduate school, you finish all your coursework, all you do is just doing research. And his response is that it's the same thing that you might experience, is that you have a project to do, you are final to attend. Then you have a certain heightened alertness because you have a final to go to. And then after the final, whatever happened is that you get a huge relief, because there's certain up and a certain anticipation and apprehension, and after that you just feel relief. And then my friend said, I do research 360 days a year, and then I just do not have that kind of elation and comfort for that. So therefore, when you say what kind of favorite thing you do, is just actually when everybody is trying to do something, you actually have some closure to it. And then once you have the closure, and then you review yourself, but whether it's how much accomplished is not the matter, but at least you try your best and finish that job. So therefore, basically to you is just the thing is just right now in your journey, you'll be encounter this type of kind of up and up, whatever it is, that this kind of experience is very important to you. It's because you have a goal, and you have certain milestone, and then you have certain timeline to it. Once you finish that, then you say, oh, okay, this is what I did. So sometimes have some kind of target, some kind of a goal, and then you reach that goal, and then you went back and say, hey, maybe I can set the next goal. But in between, it would be very nice. You say, how can I do better? Or is there anything I should not do? Or even if there's anything that I should be emphasizing on my efforts. So then in such a case, you make your life is a learning process the rest of your life. And then if you go to that habit, then this is what I've been through. And then even currently, I mean, that is really something that I think I will treasure that experience. I think just like you now, even now you are experiencing that kind of situation is that you want to do something and then at least you accomplish to a certain level. And then in such a case, you review, say, hey, as that this is one milestone, and then we work at the milestone. Whenever we reach one milestone, then it becomes the favorite thing of the day.
Wow, okay. So, yes, I'm experiencing it right now, but I don't think I'll ever experience as much as you have, because you have completed so much stuff for your community. But I think our friend Oliver Chen has some more questions for you,
Okay,
so moving
great.
on to Oliver.
All right.
Thank you, Ethan. So thanks for being here, Mr. Sandy Chau. I also have a few questions for you. What are your goals for the world, like as of right now?
Oh wow, this is put it this way, it's everybody is pursuing certain ideals, and then I was about 50 years ago. I was working in a company, and I felt that we should have some improvement. So I participate in an organization called Toastmaster. Toastmaster is a group of people getting together, and each one planned a 7-minute speech. And then for people who are afraid to do public speaking. And then we have the inauguration of the chapter, and then some of the very experienced Toastmasters come over to encourage us. So therefore, one guy is a chemist, graduate from UC Berkeley, and then he's an accomplished chemist. So, but however, he came and talked about gold. And then he said, well, he said, basically, he wanted to give the encouragement when I was participating in the Toastmaster. What he said is this: I went to Berkeley. I think I'm a better than average student. So therefore, when I try to start working, and everything, then my first goal is just because of chemistry, I want to win a Nobel Prize. Because when we first started, I mean, there's nothing indicating that I cannot reach that goal. But along the way, he finds out his limitations. Then his goal becomes a lesser goal. But however, he said, it is so fortunate that you are starting this chapter, that you're just fresh. That means nothing in your mind could stop you to set a goal that is the highest. So go for the highest goal, and then until you say, well, I try my best, I have to reduce my goal. So a lot of times when youth have a lot of and then getting out, everyone should say, I should reach the highest goal. 20 years ago, we have a Vision America internship training, and then we have a speech contest. The 30% of the contestants, and they come up, and then they talk about their goal. 30%, male, female, they always say, my goal is to be the President of the United States. So therefore, you all want to set your goal very high. And another thing is this, that whether it's realistic to you. And then a lot of times, a lot of people set a goal just by himself. And then just by himself, certain goal is very difficult to achieve. Then how about collectively, everybody together to reach that goal? So therefore, basically, we just need to work with each other. And then a lot of times we need to size up the future together. So therefore, to have a goal, but somehow a reachable goal. You can set up a goal that is not reachable, then in such a case, then you just have to size up. And then you set up a goal that you say, I cannot reach it only by myself, but it could be collectively we can reach the same goal. So my goal, I have so many. So when you say, what is your goal? That means, how about your goal as a family member? Your goal, if you wish to have a descendant and a family, and what's your goal? And then another thing is this, do you want to be somebody who has a lot of friends? And what kind of friends you want? Or sometimes it's academically, I have a goal. Career-wise, I have a goal. And then into community, I have a goal. Then there's so many goals. But however, we have to, because of our interaction right now, because the emphasis right now on this kind of training and this kind of leadership or this kind of involvement, I think we limited to the goal of leadership. We're limited to the goal of the community. And then we're limited to the goal of how ultimately we want to be. So for you, I would suggest, say, how about setting up, if we set up a goal, not talking about family, career, academic, and all the things, to put that aside, that would be really a goal for the community. And then for that community, the goal would be, when all those are discounted, it had to be maybe 55 years ago, because all the other goal is already done. Assuming somebody is 15 years old and 55 years later is 70. By 70, he's no longer searching for a career goal, no longer searching for a wealth goal, and then everything. That goal would be, I think, for the community, is how do you foresee the world 55 years from now? Then in such a case, what are my priorities? Because within the 55 years, you have a lot of priority. Maybe you want to be a performing artist or something like that, or you want to be a professor, whatever, but that's just already over. And by then, it is all of a sudden, from now until then, that you're focusing is 55 years ago, are we working toward a better world, better environment? Is it still suitable for generations to come? Then in such a case, a lot of times during this 55 years, I cannot be so selfish and wasteful. I should be more care about certain people. I should be considered, I want to work toward a fairer society. Then in such a case, and a fair society is everybody can get what is deserved to have, an education, availability to knowledge, that kind of thing. And then in such a case, we should not be so wasteful and use up all the world's resources that the next generation leave much less. And then another thing, or in a way that I want to build a world that is more sustainable. And then, so therefore basically it's us, we are enjoying what our previous generation had left us. But how are we going to spoil it? How are we going to strengthen it? So therefore, basically, for my goal of already thing, I really want. There are many things, but among all the things, I just hope the remaining of my life, I would say the world as it is now. So my goal is on the community-wise, on our fellow citizen-wise. My goal would be saying that if those underprivileged people given the same opportunity and given the same environment, would they accomplish the same as the privileged people? And I'll consider the intelligence and then motivation could be trained, could be developed. So therefore, my goal would be, if I have to do something within the next, say, decade or 2 decades, I would say I would try my best to give the not have to have. So therefore, the world will be more in harmony. So it's a big ideal, almost like the story about the Toastmaster. My goal will, at least I would say, if I have a choice between getting the privileged better or getting the underprivileged some opportunity to level the ground, and I would say if I have a choice, I go to that goal. So therefore, in the community, not counting other category, I would say that is one thing I would like to emphasize.
That's a very deep answer that you just given us. As a follow-up question, how do you envision this world as of in maybe 50 years if your goal was accomplished?
I don't think I can contribute until that 50 years. You guys have to contribute that 50 years. So therefore, basically, it's called, I would say, it's like a relay. It's passing the baton. And hopefully, the baton they're passing to you, and I would say this person would carry this baton to be compassionate, to be caring, and then to be not too selfish in a way that that you just hope everybody else could share the resource of the world in a more level way. So therefore, basically, it's just that what I foresee is us. Youth right now is tremendously blessed because nowhere in time during the last any decades or in history there's so much knowledge, so much information that you can access. Now you almost can access all those information at the same time. You can actually through social media communicate with people that would somehow belong to the same wish and the same group and then become a peer. So therefore, basically, if you set up something that first you have some kind of moral standard, and then I would say you guys together maybe you can create a compass to see what is right or what's wrong, and if everybody go to the direction that you can really gather your forces together and then you go to that direction, I would say my wish it would be saying that, I mean, you can get involved anytime. And then sooner or later, the power will be getting. And then in in making anything, sooner is better than later. Because the word is too complicated. So therefore, in such a case, I think this is the beginning of developing your own leadership. I mean, willing to give, willing to share, and willing to learn, those are the good traits of leadership. So therefore, what I can see is this. My goal is this, hopefully we can all pass on the baton to somebody that will be constructive and have a lot of compassion.
That's wonderful. Now moving on to my good friend Carol.
Okay.
Actually,
Go ahead. We'll come back to you. Maybe I'll ask you a question.
Yeah, I have some questions about your position as a civic leader. So, what inspired you to become a civic leader?
It's a leader sometimes it's not label because of label. He's a leader. He's a leader because if a leader they call them leader is because they have a title, not necessarily be a leader. So not because of title. I certainly feel that I think leader without a group, then if by one person, he's not a leader because he's not leading anybody. Leader is something, in our opinion, is that together the group somehow move to the ideal, your wish and your ideal in the same direction. And then if you are one of the person that influence the group to move to that direction, and then whether you're in the forefront or the back, you're actually a leader into a course. So therefore, basically, I think the important thing is as leader without the whole group, without the whole mass working toward the same direction, you're not really leading anybody. So therefore, you basically is just but somehow somebody have to be within the group. You say these are the good direction to go, and if everybody agree that is a good direction to go, whoever influence that direction is a leader. And then the thing is this, whoever contribute to the momentum of that movement is actually also a leader by example. So it's a maybe in the future you would encounter different kind of opportunities that a lot say what kind of leadership style you have. Then a lot of people say, I lead by example. So he's not asking other people to do it. He just do it, he think is the right way, and other people think that is the correct way. Then when other people follow what he did is the right way, and then everybody work toward that same better way, then not really asking other people to do it, but his example influence other people to do it, then he becomes a leader also. So therefore, basically, it's just I would say it's elusive, but at the same time very easy to define. Is when somebody can influence a group to do together, and then without other attractions like because of job, because of benefit, but somehow they all believe in the same conviction. So therefore, in such a case, and then you'll be so happy that when everybody together and then you move towards a certain situation, and then then I would say, but certain people, because of certain other people are shy and you're more verbal, then in such a case, oh, he's a leader. But on the other hand, it's just I would say, in the community, there are different forces of leadership. So as long your heart is there, I would say there will be leader quality in every person.
Thank you. As a follow-up question, do you have any tips for becoming a good leader?
Yes. I would say all leaders should be generous. And then all leaders should not be afraid to making a step forward. That means even though you are not so sure, even though you are afraid of the risk, afraid that you might fall, afraid you might make a mistake, but somehow the timid actions or not making a step cannot be a leader. So leader have to take risk, and then willing to sacrifice, willing to be ridiculed, willing to be not afraid of failure. Even in the failure, you can stand up and move forward again, and then to learn from the failure and move forward. So therefore, I think these are some of the tips I would say is that it's not easy to be a leader, but don't be afraid, because the reason why is that even you make a mistake, if you learn from the mistake, it makes you a better person, a better man, and then you're more skillful. It's much better than not doing that. So therefore, these are the things. Okay, then another tips I want to give you is, you cannot immediately be a leader, then you look for somebody who's been there and let them be your mentor. And then in such a case, then you will develop some skill set. Then you can go forward. And your own observation will be important. You have to learn the elements of how do you proceed. Okay, so these are the general things. So therefore, basically, it's just but most importantly, to be a real leader, is you learn your lesson, you learn the skill set, and you're more very willing to share with other people, and hopefully they can really, because of you, share your experience, and then you really, in this way, you mentor somebody else. When you mentor somebody else and somebody feel the same conviction, you have no choice, you're a leader.
Well, thank you for your knowledge on leadership and tips. My friend Carol has some questions too.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, so of course no one starts out successful. So what are some challenges you faced over your journey to become who you are today? And how did you overcome them?
Oh wow, this it will take a long time, because like myself or most of other people, we learn from our mistakes. So therefore, if you count all my mistakes, and then eventually I corrected them, and some habits I cannot correct. But on the other hand, it's just if you want me to count my blessing, and there's a long list of blessings that I have. It's just the association. So therefore, basically, it's just who you associate with, and that will be meaningful. So therefore, basically, it's just you should be diversified in everything, but at the same time, sooner or later you have some purpose in life, and then you choose that kind of purpose. Then you say, okay, if I want to do that, how should I enrich myself? How am I going to change some of the habits that I have? And then in such a case, I can reach the goal and more focused. So it's okay, you don't need to be focused all the time, because I really, when Ethan asks you what you do every day, that you actually in many things. So therefore, it's okay to develop all kinds of experience and all kinds of hobbies and things like that, and then but somehow you just sometimes I would say it's emotionally choose your friend is not that easy to this, but somehow it's this that if you participate some of the things that you think is meaningful that your friends are doing, and probably you're already in good company. So double basically is this: treasure your friendship, and then so among them you don't really need to be boring in one area. You can do different things, but somehow reserve some areas that you're thinking about. How do we want the world 55 years from now? And what kind of thing that we should be attended to? I don't know. The world is in the future. You guys will know. So I would say it's a wonderful time to be is another Carol and Parker says that this conversation is something else, is something that's very exciting. It is because the world is getting smaller and smaller. The resource of the world is getting scarcer and scarcer. And then it requires significant management. And then the people are really more diverse, but they are actually closer together than ever before. Then in such a case, how are we going to be harmoniously share the ownership of our future? And so basically it's this. Maybe I live another decade, maybe 2 decades, but somehow the runway is very short.